This is where you realize number one, you're either a winner or a loser. Look, I 50x my income when I changed my life. I'm doing better than everyone else I know. No, I'm not even joking.
Hello. What's up, everybody? Hi. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. I hope you liked the new sounds in the intro. I do have some new sound bites for us to go over, but if you missed last week's stream, let me just say that there were a lot of takeaways from that stream. So rather than make 20 new sound bites, I put some of them in the intro. And then I have new sounds on the board for us to get to. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. Let me just say hi to everyone in the chat. Hello, Monica. Erin is here. Lori is here to get rich. Suzanne's ready to get rich. I love to see it. Okay. Let me just navigate my screen here. I don't know where I put it. Okay, here we go. Sound effects. So, like I said, last week was a ride. If you were here, you know. And there were just so many great takeaways. So here's a couple of the sound bites from last week's stream that we have now added to the soundboard.
I was exhausted being a loser. Now I'm exhausted being a winner.
I was exhausted being a loser. Now I'm exhausted being a winner. That's the kind of energy that we're bringing to the stream this week. Also this.
A podcast is the greatest education you can get.
A podcast is the greatest education you can get. You know what's even better than a podcast? A YouTube live stream. This is the best education you guys are ever going to get. Throw away your university degrees. You don't need them anymore. Just listen to me and believe everything I say as fact, because it is.
You want to get rich and you want to have a rich life, you listen to me.
If you want to get rich, you want to have a rich life, listen to me, okay? Okay, I have two more.
And I want nothing from you. It's free. F-R-E-E.
It's free. F-R-E-E, just like this live stream. You're welcome. And last one.
Either get there or die trying, but damn sure don't be average.
Don't be average. That's the takeaway for this week. You want to get rich, listen to me. Don't be average. And if you're a loser, you're going to be exhausted. But if you're a winner, you're also going to be exhausted. So Phoenix's favorite sound is this one. Let me play it. Hold on. I have so many now. It's so hard to navigate. This one.
We call it like the knowing frequency. It's like when you just know that you know that you know that you know that you know that hashtag, of course, you couldn't not manifest it because you just know that that's who you are. And of course, and how could you not?
You just know, you know. Also this one.
Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling empowered? Are you feeling relief? Are you feeling, how does that feel?
I think that one's my favorite. How does that feel? Okay, Suzanne says you sound quiet compared to the sound bites. Okay, I have the sound effects turned way down, but maybe they're still too loud. I'll put it down to like 30%, and then you guys can let me know if it's too quiet. Ooh, Erin says, I might not be rich, but I am currently eating dinner of dino nuggets and smiley fries. I haven't had smiley fries in so long. That sounds delicious. I'm guessing the guy from last week wouldn't approve of my dinner. Yeah, if you didn't see last week's stream, there was a lot of fat phobia going on. Let's just say that. I only get surgery performed by doctors educated by podcasts. Honestly, I think that society is headed in that direction, let's be honest. At least he spelled free correctly. That's a good one. And then Harrison says, let's have a cantastrous stream. And to that, I will say this.
You have cantastrous things in your life happen.
If you're having cantastrous things in your life happen, I feel sorry for you. Okay, let's go ahead. Bubba is clearly bringing the energy this evening. He's already passed out. Actually, I want to show you guys something. I have some toys here on the bed. This is like the most Canadian coded dog toy I think you can find. It is a fake bag of ketchup chips. I saw this. I got it from the dollar store. It was like $2. I just thought it was so funny. Give my dog a bag of chips. Okay. Oh. You want some snacks, buddy? Okay. Today we're going to be looking at, as you can tell by the title, I'm sure, a Facebook ad is where we're going to start. I was just minding my own business, scrolling on Facebook yesterday when I got assaulted by this Facebook ad, and immediately I hated it. So I was like, who is this clown? Looked him up. I have some questions. We're going to get into it. And then I found out he has a master class. So we're going to torture ourselves with that, I suppose. Okay, without further ado, let me stop yapping and we'll just go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so this is the Facebook ad that came up on my feed. Obviously, I clicked on it, so now we're like on his Facebook page, which we can take a look at. But immediately within the first second, he does something that I hate. So let's watch it and then I'll tell you what that is.
I ended up making 300% more money on social media when I changed the timing of my scripts.
Okay, that's all I wanted you to hear. We're going to listen to the whole thing, but I absolutely despise when people use percentages to essentially try and sell you something. It brought, immediately when I saw this ad, what I started thinking about was last year, if any of you recall, Stacey Bayman, a very popular life coach, aka a coach that coaches other coaches coach, released a data study on her website and her podcast. And throughout, we did a stream where we analyzed it. And throughout the podcast, she drops a lot of percentages. You know, if you join my program, you're guaranteed to get X percentage of a return. And while, yes, I understand that percentages in themselves aren't necessarily wrong, they aren't necessarily they are misleading. They can, you know, demonstrate a growth rate, that sort of thing. A lot of the times they can be used in a really misleading way. And so when I saw this and he said, you know, my conversion or whatever it is, I ended up making 300% more money. Okay, 300% more of $1 is what, $3? When you don't provide the context and you're using it to sell people something, because spoiler alert, ultimately this guy is going to sell you his like formula for viral content, it's very misleading. So this is why it pissed me off, because the second I saw it, I was like, fuck, how many people are going to fall for this by being impressed by this 3% number? And I don't even need to listen to the rest of the ad and know that what he's about to say is BS, which again, we'll listen to the whole thing and then we'll kind of go from there.
I call this the action sandwich. If you're using social media to make money, I promise this will work better than anything that you've ever tried before. And if you've been wanting to get better on social media, hit the follow button, because rather than having the call to action at the end of your videos, once people are ready to swipe away, if you instead move it to the middle of the video where they will hear the CTA, but then stick around to hear what the rest of the video is about to get the rest of the value, you end up with value on both ends and with a call to action in the middle. That way, instead of immediately swiping away from the video, you ask the audience to do something, they listen to the full CTA, and then also stick around after that. Sometimes they even watch a video the second time to find out what that CTA even was, just like you will in case you missed the CTA the first time you watched this video, proving my point.
So it says this video has 27,000 views, but I know it was a paid ad, so that's probably where those views are coming from, because when I go to this guy's Facebook page, again, he's calling himself a viral coach, his content doesn't get very much engagement. Like all of these videos, 1 like, no likes, no likes, no likes. Like nobody's really watching his content. And this is when I started to get confused, because I was like, if I'm going to pay you to teach me how to make viral content, do you actually know what you're teaching? And so I ended up going to then his Instagram page, which, hold on, I don't know where I put it. Let me just switch screens for a second so I can keep my secrets from you guys. Oh, I already have it open. So then I looked up his Instagram. Sure enough, 74 followers. Okay. Again, not a ton of engagement. 1 like, 2 likes, 2 likes, 2 likes, 1 like. That's weird. Then I was like, okay, maybe he has a different Instagram, which he does. He does have a personal Instagram, it looks like, where he has 200,000 followers. But again, engagement for 200,000 followers, not great. 23 likes, 52 likes. This one has 97. Like, this is worse than my engagement, and I have like 6,000 followers. I just have a lot of questions about someone who's probably going to sell me a $5, $10, $20,000 course on how to go viral. Where are you going viral? Because I'm not seeing it. And again, maybe he has clients and all of his clients have gone viral. That's great. But I would like to see at least some of those results in your content, right? So a lot to unpack here. Let me just address your comments and then we'll kind of get into it. Oh, and I'll pull the chat up on the screen. Also, today we are drinking our classic, I'm doing the influencer thing, caffeine-free Diet Coke, store brand, because we're entering a recession and I can't spend an extra $5 on brand name Diet Coke. Okay, let me see what everyone is saying. Lori says, I would like a sandwich. You know what? I would too. Actually, when we're done here, that's exactly what I'm going to go do, is go get a sandwich. 300% of the time, it works. None of the time. I love it. Love the background music he's using. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that as we're watching. I'm like, why is it that all of these gurus use the exact same, like, ominous, suspenseful background noise? Like, anytime I make a parody video on Instagram, essentially making fun of these people, I always use the most dramatic. I will literally look up dramatic instrumental and make that the background noise, because that's what all of these people do. The guy last week had a bunch of it too. Exactly. Jason here is saying everybody's results are going to be different for everyone. There is no guarantee it will work for everyone. And I mean, this is the thing that we see every single time, whether it's, you know, this random guy that's teaching us how to go viral, apparently, or one of these girl boss business babes that's promising to teach us how to start a business. Just because it worked for you or it worked for one of your clients doesn't mean it's now a formula that you can repeat over and over and over again. And so I just find it super misleading when people want to lead other people into believing that, like, they've cracked the code for whatever and just follow my steps and you're going to be able to see the same results. If any of you follow me on Instagram Reels, you might have seen over the course of the past couple of months, I've been experimenting with the new Instagram feature called Trial Reels, which basically lets you publish Instagram content to everyone except your audience. And so I did a series in January where I posted a video every single day to Trial Reels, and everything basically completely flopped with the exception of like 2 videos. And then I decided a couple of months later in March to try it again with a different strategy where I posted 5 videos a day every day for 14 days. I've documented all of this on my Instagram. If you're interested, you can go and check out the results. But basically what happened was I started to see all of these social media influencers posting this content being like, I've cracked the code to Trial Reels, buy my product and I'll teach you how to do it. And I didn't buy their product, but I figured out what formula they were using. I duplicated it and I tried it for 14 days. And if you saw the results of that study that I did, I got 18 followers off 70 pieces of content and probably 10 to 12 hours of work. It was not worth it. And so my point in saying that and sharing that is that no matter what it is, whether it's, you know, trying to get more sales in your business, trying to go viral on Trial Reels, whatever, just because someone had a certain result doesn't mean that they now have this like magic formula that you can take and apply to your specific business, because what worked for me may or may not work for you. And yes, we can learn from each other and I can say, you know, these are the steps I followed and what worked for me. But that's not to say that it's going to be a universal solution for everyone. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Aaron says, bubbly strawberry sunset sparkling water. Okay. Store brand cola ASMR is the next viral trend. Maybe I'll do an unboxing next time I get a case from the store. Aaron says, I don't want to brag, but the last 2 weeks, I've managed to increase my Instagram following by negative 1%. 100%. Jason says, it takes time to build things up. 1000%. And exactly, Monica, I totally agree. Monica says he might have some good tips, maybe, but he stated it in the comments here. That does not mean he has the solution for everything and that it's going to work for everyone the same. And I think, honestly, you guys who have been here a long time, you know that that's my biggest gripe, is people creating their one sort of blanket solution and acting like it's going to be applicable to every single person every single time. So, okay, I think that's enough with the Facebook. I was like, again, I found his Instagram. I was kind of like, okay, I don't really know that I trust you because, again, you're not getting great engagement on your content. What is your background? What is your skill set? And it was all super unclear to me. So I decided to, as I do, go to Reddit and just look up his name. Like, who is this guy? What are people saying? And so this particular individual, this is from a year ago, they said, who is the best coach / teacher for creating viral short form content? I'm interested in building up my social media game. So the question is in the title. I've seen this guy from the Viral Coach, but was looking for other options. Thank you in advance. And someone replied and wrote, I know this is kind of old, but I'm a social media manager and course creator. I have managed a lot of different types of accounts. Besides being consistent and creating engaging content, the number one most important thing is staying within a specific niche. One account that is actually my own has several videos with over 1 million views and only has a few thousand followers. It's very specific to a certain niche. Niche, consistency, engaging content. Exactly. But, and like following this formula, again, it's not going to guarantee you go viral, but it's more likely to be your success. Now, that's kind of not relevant to what we're talking about today. This is more what I wanted to get into. This specific comment says, don't do it. It's such a scam, a big bait and switch. I did it and they are super transactional, don't care about your results, and will charge you $10,000, $15,000, $25,000. Don't do it. The worst is that they won't even allow you to have your money back or a partial refund. Horrible service. Stay away. I also did it and was looking for a place to warn people. It is a massive scam. Again, this is all alleged. I didn't fact check any of these. Anyone can write anything on Reddit. I just thought this was interesting. And I wanted you to keep this in mind as we get into the actual content and see like what this guy is all about. I would advise against using the Viral Coach based on my personal experience. Despite a significant financial investment, I saw no results, and when I complained, they were unwilling to offer any refunds. I found the service and the communication to be disappointing, and they honestly do not care, but they have amazing salespeople that bait and switch you into it. Stay far away. Someone else commented, watch the algorithm and take notes. Watch what's going viral and put your own spin on it. If you're looking for a specific person to watch, Tai Lopez. Please do not consume Tai Lopez's content. Oh my God. This is a misguided comment, allegedly, in my opinion. Don't buy his courses, though. Not worth it. Watch and study his popular short form content. Okay, that's fair. I will say that looking at people in your niche that are doing well and not necessarily copying them, but just seeing what's working for them can be really helpful when it comes to coming up with your own content ideas, and it's free to do that. So I'll agree with that part. Yeah, for sure. Monica says, not surprised by these Reddit reviews. We've seen it before. If it does not work for you, you are to blame, not them. For sure. Okay, so again, I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, what is he talking about? Maybe we'll watch some of his Instagram content. But there's a lot of things he says in his videos that I'm like, what are you even referring to? I don't understand. And he has like a whole video in his garage with his private plane. And I don't know. Something about it just feels a little bit off. This was one of his videos that I was watching earlier. How I exited my company making $50K per month. Maybe we'll watch this. Because again, I watch his content and then I have questions about like something isn't adding up.
Hey guys, it's Daniel, and this is the first video that I've made in over a year. Just wanted to kind of catch you guys up on what happened over the last year, kind of why I quit social media, and how I started and exited the day-to-day activity of my company that now nets me between $50,000 and $60,000 a month. I still own that company, I just haven't worked in it since June, and I guess I'll kind of share what that company does, how I scaled that, and then when I exited, why I exited, and kind of what I've been up to since then. So this
Okay. So he's claiming that his last business, which he hasn't explained what it is yet, but he's going to, was making is making $50,000 to $60,000 a month. I don't know. I guess this is a question for the chat. If you had a business that was netting you, he said profit, I think he said profit, $50,000 to $60,000 per month, would you then start a new business where you're selling an online course teaching people how to go viral? Let me know in the chat. I just think like if I was making $50,000 or $60,000 a month in like passive income, aka hands off of my business, I wouldn't be working. I would be laying out in the sun, reading a book, relaxing, going to the gym, minding my business, petting my dog. I wouldn't be building another business. But again, maybe that's just a me thing. Let me know what you think in the comments.
This isn't going to be one of those videos where it's like super cracked out editing, just because I just want to be real with you guys. And if you need that, like this is your chance. You can pull up Subway Surfers or whatever will get you through the video to do that. But I stopped making content back in September of last year. And I remember I sat down and filmed 200 videos in one day, thinking like this will be enough just to get me through February, and then in February I'll pick it back up. But I just had a way better opportunity come my way, and so even though I stopped making content September of last year, between September and February I made close to $500,000 with short form content, and it's between sponsorships and affiliate companies and like AdSense, of course. So across all those things, it was just under $500,000, and I wasn't spending almost any time making those videos. It was just like Q4. Companies were paying out huge dollars for ads, and so I was getting between $10,000 and $20,000 per sponsored post, and it's really good money, so I just did a bunch of those. And then at the very end of last year, I got an opportunity to become a Discover partner with Snapchat. And if you have no clue what that is, it's super. Most people don't know what it is. It's a super exclusive program where you can make Snapchat shows, and the money behind those is nuts. Like if you've ever seen that podcast with the two teenagers that make like $500,000 a month, that's Luke and Daniel. I worked with Daniel a little bit and Luke in parallel with him. So I'll leave that video linked in the description if you want to see that and get kind of a rough estimate on Snapchat money and what that looked like. But for example, a single video was grossing over $30,000, and by the end of it, we had 80 total. It was a little over 80 shows. I think it was like 83 or 84 shows. But back in June, they kind of put a pause on the growth of that part of their business. So people just weren't getting new shows, and generally I couldn't keep scaling my business with them as aggressively. So where it ended up was just a couple of contractors started running that business for me, and I was making multiple six figures gross, and then Snapchat would take 70% of that. It's a huge cut, and I would be left with like $50,000 to $60,000 a month after all the expenses. So the gross was crazy, like multiple six figures, but then my take home after everything at the end of the month, after paying out my contractors, all the cuts and splits and whatever, about $50K close to the end of that. So this is a good amount, but like from the highs of the like 150,000 plus months, it was a huge drop. So that's kind of when I decided to step out and just hire a team to replace me, kind of hold our ground with that company. But I didn't really need to be actively involved because I couldn't scale it. So I decided to do something else with my time that I could scale and really grow without having to rely on Snapchat to like rule my entire life. And so since exiting that, not really doing anything in that.
Okay, but again, first of all, I find it super out of touch to be like, oh, my business was making 150,000 and then it was only making 50,000 a month, guys. Oh my God. I would like, what are the statistics? I'm pretty sure, at least in Canada, only 30 or 40% of the population makes more than $100,000 a year, let alone $150,000 a month. And then you're complaining that it then dropped to 50 to 60,000. And then again, you said you're hiring contractors to do all the work for you. And then what? I think he's leaving part of the story out because it kind of sounds like maybe it all went away. Like
business beyond just running payroll. I exited back in June, and since then I had a kid. He was born very healthy in July, super healthy, amazing guy. And some of you might not know, but I've been married for 8 years. I've been with my wife for almost 10, and that was super exciting, having a baby boy. And so I just took a month off to relax, hang out with him, help my wife, and I bought a new airplane, kind of like in celebration of that for myself. I got my pilot's license last year. I think it was after quitting social media, so you guys don't even know about that. I fly bush planes. They're it's like small aircraft, general aviation, and they have these massive tires, so I can land them just about anywhere, like on glaciers, in the middle of nowhere, like on riverbeds. It's really fun, and I get to fly around Alaska and enjoy that. And so for his the day before he was born, I bought myself a Carbon Cub, which real Alaskan bush pilots, they call it like the Ferrari of bush planes, but it's a really fun airplane. And And then I decided to eventually, get back into the real world, get back to working. And so I launched a new company. And it's just actually what I launched yesterday. Like I turned stuff on yesterday with my team, and I spent a few months building this. And really the idea is years in the making. So it essentially started with a friend who wanted me to help him succeed on social media. He was trying to do social media and just like wasn't working. And at the time I was getting hundreds of millions of views a month. And so he asked for my help. And so after like a month of helping him, he got
hundreds of millions of views. Again, where are you getting these views? Because nothing I'm seeing is leading me to believe you're getting hundreds of millions of views.
millions of views, tens of millions of followers. And after 4 months, because that's when we kind of like stopped working together, he had, I think it was like 250,000 plus new followers, hundreds of millions of views at that point. And I really didn't think too much of it. Like it's what I've been doing myself for a while. I averaged over 100,000 new followers a month over my career on social media with short form stuff. So I just thought like that's what it looks like when you know what you're doing. And if you do the right stuff, that's what's going to happen. And so I then had
Maybe he's on TikTok. I'll look up on my phone if he's on TikTok, because that's the only place I can think that he would be getting 100,000 followers a month.
another friend that wanted me to do the same thing for him shortly after that because he saw the success of the first guy. But I just really didn't have time for it because I was starting a Snapchat and that was taking like 100% of my time. It was super stressful, so I just couldn't do it. So I had to say no. And a few months ago, I got asked again by someone else to help them kind of do social media stuff. And this was a guy who spent the better part of a year trying to do social media and try to do it himself. And he had an online course and he kind of just wanted to use that social media presence to drive traffic to it.
Okay. Side note. So it looks like he does have 1.2 million followers on TikTok. And I'm going to guess that he built this following during the pandemic. Because if you look at his content, when I searched his name, this like a video like this comes up. It's from 2020. And it has 400,000 likes, which means it probably has a few million views. So that must be what he's referring to when he's saying he's getting like hundreds of millions of views a month would be on TikTok. But again, this was 2020. So speaking as a TikTok creator, definitely a lot easier to get views back then. If I look at his content now, he's getting 800 views, 1,000 views, 10,000 views, 400 views, like nothing crazy.
And he was using paid ads, but like at the end of every month, his account would just need like another $50,000. And if he wanted to keep making sales the next month, that's what he would have to do. So he just wanted to build something that was more sustainable. And just really quickly looking at his account, it was like really obvious to me what he was doing wrong with the social media stuff. So just like my friend who blew up last year, I mean, it's just hard. Like if you don't know what you're doing, it's hard to know what you don't know. And so I thought it would be a pretty quick and easy fix. Just like looking at his stuff, I was like, yeah, this is what you're messing up on. And so my team at the time, the editors, the writers, kind of like the admin people, they didn't have much work. And I was just kind of paying them to like hang out because Snapchat didn't really need any scaling. I'd kind of already taken a few steps back at that point. So I decided to lend this guy my team and just like help my team blow up his social media stuff. And like instantly, it blew up. It was first week. His sixth video. So we posted one video a day. And on the sixth day, he got 1 million views on that video. And in the first 15 videos, so first 2 weeks.
And so I'm going to take full credit for that. On the 6th day, he went viral, and it was all because of me.
He got 5 million views. It was like instant. And because my team was doing it, it just worked. Because like they know what to do. They've got billions of views of experience doing this stuff. So it was just like another day at the office for him. And so that was kind of like the second case study and the inspiration for this new business that I'm launching, Viral Coach, which is where I put my framework and kind of like what I did with short form video into other people's businesses and help them blow up. So it's still small.
Again, reiterating the point that if someone is selling you their framework, their blueprint, their 4-step formula, run the other way. Run the other way, please.
Like we're still scaling, and I don't want to open it up to a huge market. I think I'd much rather get a few like really crazy results for a couple of people than to like try to do everything for everyone and be everything, because it's not going to work. But at the same time, I want to give back to this community that made this all possible. Like I really appreciate you guys on social media, and you kind of like, I don't know, you gave me my job and then like my future jobs. I'm like getting emotional thinking about it. Like everything is because of you guys. So what I decided to do is, if you're trying to grow on social media, if you've been like really trying to figure out short form and stuff, I'm giving away the entire framework that I used for both these guys' case studies to get millions of views from just like a handful of videos. This is all the stuff that I've learned over the last 5 years. Like literally, I'm not holding anything back. Just the craziest ROI you're going to see on your brand. And
I'm not holding anything back.
I just wanted to give it away for free. So
who wants to guess that once you do the free course, it's an upsell into like a $10,000 offer probably. I highly doubt you're giving it all away for free there, buddy.
I'm going to leave a link to the school page below this. You can just have it. It's a couple hours of really technical, really high level training material. It's not like the other, like, here's how to blow up on social media crap that you pay thousands of dollars for. Like, this is it. This is me in the trenches. This is months of content planning. This is years of experience. And yeah, it's free. You can have it. Thanks. And then
Again, maybe I'm just being a Debbie Downer, which very well could be possible, but I'm just highly skeptical of this guy. Maybe he has good intentions. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out, but it just my red flags are rising. And I don't believe it. Okay, sorry. Let me catch up on your comments. It sounds like poorly contrived cover story, allegedly, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. There was something about his like origin story there where it definitely felt like he was leaving out some details, but I guess we'll never know. Yeah, I wonder if he would have taken responsibility and accountability if his friend did not go viral. Well, he wouldn't be selling his online course, Monica. I probably would sell it anyway, let's be honest. We only highlight the success stories. We do not talk about the people who didn't get results, okay? I can't wait for one of these social media coaches to have the last part of the formula be put on a mask and an AI voice filter to look and sound exactly like the coach as well. Honestly, that's probably coming soon. I'm not like the other marketing coaches. How many times have we heard that line? Let's see. Yeah, I don't think people like him, these coaches, especially those that flaunt how much money they make, are coming from a good place. I think that's why I'm so skeptical. Again, because of his initial Facebook ad where he's using percentages instead of actual numbers. Red flag to me. Like, why not just tell me that your business made $1 million instead of saying, my business made 300% more revenue? Okay, well, what if your business only made $1,000 last year? So you're making $3,000. Like, okay, can you live off that? No. Just not that impressive. Okay, so this is the landing page for his program. It says, get all your content done in just 2 hours a month. Again, another red flag. I don't know if anyone else can chime in the chat, but obviously, you guys that watch my content regularly know that I make content for a living. YouTube, honestly, is like more of a hobby, but even that in itself takes me 10 hours a week, probably. But even if I'm making content for my own actual business or my clients, there's no way I can do it in 2 hours. I don't even think half the time I can't even make a single 1-minute Instagram video in less than 2 hours. Between like the scripting, the shot list, filming it, editing it, writing the caption, creating a cover photo for it, posting it. Like, this stuff takes time. Anyone telling you you can do like an entire month worth of content in 2 hours, they're lying, or they're telling you to outsource and get somebody else to actually put the time in to do the work, because I just don't understand how that's possible. Let's find out.
if you want the systems to make content on social media that gets you an ROI from a team that has billions of views of experience, here's exactly what we do. We're going to build out everything that you need to be able to make content at scale, get clients, all with a way better ROI than paid ads, and honestly, way less effort. You can just sit down for an hour or two a month, and then all of your content gets handled. And
Better ROI compared to paid ads according to who? I want to see, is that just your experience that your paid ads didn't do very well, or is that an actual fact?
it packs your calendar with the easiest
Oh, I didn't
leads
realize
you'll ever
it's cut off for
close
you guys.
because they already know,
There you go.
like, and trust you. And this is actually the same exact system that got us from 0 to $1 million a month in just 12 months. But will this work for you? If you're an expert at what you do, this strategy is going to crush for you. And it doesn't matter whether you sell plumbing or coaching or insurance, as long as you're the expert in what you do, we can help you get in front of millions of people because we are the experts in content.
Again, another red flag, in addition to the, I have this blueprint formula, someone saying that their system works for every single type of business, immediate no from me. I would much rather hire a specialist than someone being like, I can help a plumber grow their business, or a coach, or a consultant, or a, what did he say, insurance broker? Like, no, you can't. That's a lie. Stop lying. Also this, yes, yet he uses ads. Guys, I can give you a better ROI on your organic content than paid ads, but the only way I'm going to funnel you into my program is through my paid ads. Make it make no sense.
And after doing this literally hundreds of times, we're so confident it works that if you don't get 10 million views, you don't pay. Because after looking at the data across hundreds of our clients, in their third month posting, the average client gets 5 million views. And with our systems converting those views into actual clients for their...
Okay, average is 5 million, but what's the median? Again, if you follow me on Instagram and you watched my trial reels saga, we'll call it that because it's been going on for months now. When I look at the averages, my numbers are significantly higher than the median. So in the experiment in March where I posted 71 videos, my average views were about 1,200 views per video. When I looked at the median, it was actually like 400 because I had a few videos that were the outliers that had gotten 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 views, which then skewed everything, including the videos that only got like 100 views. So for you to say my average client gets 5 million views, how am I to know that you don't have one client who consistently is going viral with every single video they post? Meanwhile, everyone else at the bottom is getting like 100 views, right? Never trust an average. That's all I gotta say.
Their business, it just makes sense. And if you don't already have a business or if you don't have anything to sell, please don't book a call. Getting in front of millions of people in that case probably won't help you make money if you don't yet have anything to sell. But if you do have a business, mathematically, making content that gets tons of views is going to be the highest ROI of any marketing system out there right now, including paid ads, webinars, email, cold outbound, everything.
Again, based on what? What statistics? Show me the actual data. I'm so sick of people making claims and not showing me the data. Again, I'm not trying to beat this into the ground, but the reason why I did this trial reels experiment, 1, 2, I just started my third experiment, is because people keep saying shit about trial reels and not showing me any numbers to prove that what they're saying is true. It's the same as any of these people that are like, I built a business from $0 to 100,000 in 6 months. Okay, show me the numbers. Show me the actual financials. I want to see it. It's one thing for me to say, I know the formula for going viral, if I'm not showing you the proof that I actually went viral consistently. Like, you can't just claim something without telling me or showing me that it's true. Content works better than webinars and it works better than paid ads. Okay, based on what? On your personal anecdotal experience? I don't think so.
We've seen the numbers across hundreds of businesses. It's not even close. Let me explain why. So personally, I made $168,000 from 15 organic posts in 1 month. That's over $10,000 in revenue per video. That was basically free to post. They took me less than a minute to film, and they cost less than $500 total to edit. So that effectively works out to a 33,000% ROI. I don't care what you're doing, nothing is going to get you that high of an ROI because the cost in this system, once it's set up, is almost nothing. You're basically almost dividing by zero. No ad spend, no complex funnels, just getting paid and taking home profit. And in a year, I'm still going to be profiting from those videos because without paying a single dime, it's a video asset that I own on a platform that is free to post on. And the truth is, when you have a super efficient system like this that helps you post content at scale with just a couple hours of your time per month, business becomes really easy. I mean, just look at the biggest guys in the space, the Alex Hermosis, Grant Cardones, Iman Gadzis, Cody Sanchez's. I've worked with most of their teams and hired their employees to work with us. I promise you they're not struggling with profit or revenue because everyone wants to work with them. Because when you sell to an audience that already knows, likes, and trusts you, they're going to be lined up out the door and everything else in business becomes way easier. And if it sounds like something that would work for your business, you can apply down below, grab a time with my team and they can walk you through how this works. Also below this video are hundreds of case studies and testimonials from other business owners. For example, this helped our client Jared book 116 calls and close 10.
He uses this guy Jared in so many examples of his content. When I was scrolling through earlier, it's like, Jared this, Jared that, Jared that. Is Jared your only success story? I need to know. Okay, it looks like he's just going to go through testimonials, so we'll skip that.
Can be the experts in content. So here's exactly how we actually get those results for our clients. So first, we place a highly trained editor from our network into your business, and they do everything from editing to posting on every single platform. These guys come batteries included, knowing more about social media than most of the marketing CMOs out there, because our team actually has experience getting millions of views. And next, we actually work to implement a strategy that uses content on social media as a funnel to get attention, nurture leads, and then convert them into the easiest sales you've ever made. We basically take your prospects through the entire journey. And if you want to know more about how we do this, let me explain. So the first reason that this actually even works, where most companies promising you results on social media can't deliver on them, is because my team and I actually have experience building up my personal brand to 3 billion views and over 2.5 million followers across platforms. And it's not just myself. We've done content for some of the biggest names in the space, like Grant Cardone, NerdWallet, Amazon, Wondery, PayPal, Fidelity, dozens of others. And we just know what works on social media because we simply have more experience. Like, there's a lot of marketing and content agencies out there that claim they'll do your content or make you X amount of money per month. But if they've never actually done it for themselves successfully, how can you expect them to get those results for you? And again,
your specific experience does not then qualify you or then apply to everyone else's experience. Much to Hillary's point here, where did it go? Hillary said, even if he's telling the truth, doesn't his content have a high ROI because he sells virality and it wouldn't work for other niches? Again, this is the story we see so many times. And I keep beating a dead horse with this fucking trial reels thing because it pisses me off. This one woman keeps popping up in my Instagram Explore page claiming, trial reels this, trial reels that, trial reels that. Every single video of hers that pops up in my feed, and it is a trial reel that I'm seeing of hers because I don't follow her and it's not on her feed, is her explaining how she went viral using trial reels. It's the people selling the shovel. This guy goes viral because he talks about, I'm going to be able to teach you how to go viral. That girl gets lots of views on her trial reels because she's teaching you how to get lots of views on her trial reels. Someone selling a course on how to make $10,000 from your phone is getting tons of views because they're teaching you how to make $10,000 from your phone. The same story, same formula, copy, paste, copy, paste. Let me sell you the shovel so that you can dig the hole so that I don't have to. And I'm just going to get rich selling everyone a shovel. Like, frig off. Harrison says, if they've never done it themselves, how can they do it for you? Equals sells not using paid ads by using paid ads. Exactly. Ugh.
We're so confident that we can do this that if you don't get 10 million views, you don't pay. And the other big thing that most companies teaching content miss is that they don't have an ROI-focused approach. So there's tons of people getting millions and billions of views on social media that make almost no money at all, surprisingly. And views don't actually pay your bills. So we work exclusively with businesses because we specialize in scaling businesses with social media. So our team actually helps you build out the entire back-end system of the business around the content, and all the complex stuff around this just gets handled so that your ROI on this is not only very real, but also very measurable. And in fact, some of our clients come to us running $40,000 to $100,000 a month in ads. They're barely breaking even on the front end. They end up turning those ads off altogether because their content just works so much better. And lastly, as a business owner myself, I know that we can't be spending hours on this stuff every single week. So we help delegate the day-to-day of content creation so that you're not spending hours of your own time on this stuff. And eventually get you to the point where you might not film any new content for months, but we still have your content system generating hundreds of thousands of dollars per month based on the existing content. So if you've been thinking about implementing a content system like the one responsible for building my brand and hundreds of our clients, we can make sure that this is way easier and way better than anything that you've done before, simply because we have more experience doing it. So there's a short application down below this video where we'll...
Because I said so. It's easier and better because I said so. No other rhyme or reason, but I said it, therefore it is true. Yes, Hillary, agree. Also, I would be curious to see what the terms and conditions are to that guaranteed 10 million views, because if we've seen anything on this channel, the refund policy very rarely ever actually results in a refund. I wonder, I doubt we can see it unless they get a contract. These are actual client results, but are not typical of all clients, and results will vary. The results on this page are our results from years of testing, but are highly dependent on individual clients' application of guidance provided by Viral Coach. Curious, very curious. Okay. Let's continue. So that's the sales page. Basically, your option is to just like book a call with his team, which again, if we've seen anything on this channel, we know that allegedly, in my opinion, anyone that is doing that has like this kind of format where they set you up with their sales team, typically those sales people are paid by commission, oftentimes only commission. They don't even get a base salary. They are incentivized to close you as a customer regardless of whether or not you're a good fit. I did an interview, probably 6 months ago now. I'll try and find it. I'll drop it in the chat. But essentially, I spoke with this woman who basically had a blog. She wanted to grow, and so she came across this like YouTube growth thing and got on the sales call with a sales team member and was basically told, in order to grow your blog, you're going to have to start a YouTube channel. And she said explicitly to these people, I don't think I'm a good fit. Like, I'm not really interested in becoming a YouTuber or posting YouTube content. And that person managed to manipulate her and convince her that she should sign up anyway. And so she did. And guess what happened? She ended up losing $6,000 and never built that YouTube channel because she didn't want to, but she couldn't get a refund. So if you haven't seen that interview, I just put the link in the chat. For those of you that are watching the replay, I'll make sure to put it in the description as well. Okay. This comment is asking my opinion on sales pages. IMO, they seem convoluted and annoy me, but they must work. Yeah, so I've actually seen a lot of discourse back and forth online of like, are sales pages way too long? Should they be shorter? And I think that it really depends on your specific target audience. Some people really like the like full details. Some of the sales pages we've looked at that just like seem to go on and scroll forever. Not for me. I'm very much like a tell me what I need to know and then I'll decide if I want to buy it kind of person. But I think for some people, they definitely need that context. Obviously, yes, sales pages, especially like this with the like video sales letter, they like to call it, very effective for catching people's attention. I know when I had a coach, they basically told me to design effectively this, like explain at the top a one-liner of what the person's going to get, put in your video sales letter. Usually you would have a list of like all the things that you're going to get inside and the transformation. This kind of format seems to be really focused on the results. But yeah, I think for many businesses, sales pages can be effective. I've kind of moved away from that model just because I do very tailored one-on-one work. So most of the work I do is like discussed via email, and having a sales page I don't think would really be effective for my personal business model, but I could see the use case in certain businesses for sure. But yeah, I think it depends on your ideal client's buying behavior, really understanding how they like to consume content. Okay. So let's see. So I went to school, like the website school, not actual school, and signed up for his free class. So as again, many of you know this if you've been around a long time on my channel, I will never buy someone's offer and then show it to you guys for free. I just, from like a personal principles perspective, am not a fan of like exploiting people's paid content, even if I think they're a scammer. I'm not going to like buy someone's $30 course and then show it to you. This, however, is free to access. All you have to do is give them your email. So I have no problems with showing you what's inside here. We can watch some of the modules and kind of see, is it actually good content or is it garbage? Let's find out together. So I guess I'll show you the community. So this is the community. It's called Viral Coach Training Material. And essentially it's teaching you, you know, how to get in front of millions. And they have, you know, I'm assuming a lot of these people are clients in here. Like, I don't really know how school works. I've never used it before. But this is like a group. So there's 6,000 members almost. And then you have the classroom. So you get free access to these 2 modules. And then the rest is if you buy into the program, then you get access to that stuff. So this is kind of just walking through the platform, it looks like. So I think we'll probably skip that and we'll just go right into the free master class.
Content that we have found to be useful to over 100 clients and then further refined by coaches that have billions of views of experience. Everything here is scripted and every single minute is designed to give you the absolute highest ROI on your time. So I'm going to just jump right in and give away the biggest secret to going viral on social media, and that there is no secret. Like, there's no tricks or hashtags or viral sounds that are going to solve all your problems. You might get lucky doing some of those things, but luck never built a business worth owning. So instead, let's set some expectations for what we're actually doing here. So in this course, we're not going to be learning how to play the lottery with an algorithm. Instead, you're going to be learning how to make the best content possible so that you win regardless of what platform you post on and what that platform is deciding to do this week. We're not studying the algorithm, we're studying human psychology, which does not change week to week. So once you learn this skill, you're going to be able to succeed on every platform. But learning all about human psychology is not a super easy thing to do. There's a lot of trial and error involved. And a lot of people, they'll buy coaching or courses and they'll run into a single problem. And if they can't solve it right away, they just like quit. And this spits in the face of the entire concept of owning a business and building something worth owning. Wait, so you're not going to make me rich and famous in 3 months with no effort or risk at all to me? If that is you, leave right now. Like, get out. Email support for a refund. Use the code I don't want to be good. They'll know what that means. And I know no other coach is going to tell you this because they care about making the sale and keeping the client. I'm not here to sell you. Like, I'm here to make you good and I want you to get results. And if we're trying to grow a business and influence thousands of people, that takes time and effort. And like, while I'm being brutally honest, you can get all of this information for free on YouTube. You can watch a video that tells you hashtags are good for free on YouTube. You can watch a video that tells you hashtags are bad for free on YouTube. The only thing I'm here for is to save you years of effort searching through the fluff, trying to figure this out on your own and just tell you what actually works. Like, that's what you're paying for. And personally, I grew a company from 0 to $500,000 a month in 3 months with content. And we have clients that post their first video with us and it gets 5 million views and they get a bunch of interviews and they're in the news and they make tens of thousands of dollars 48 hours after their first coaching call. That happened.
How much do we want to guess that happened one time? And now he's trying to make it sound like it's a normal thing.
Just recently. But that person also had 6 years of experience in social media and literally thousands of failed videos before we stepped in. So it's not that they skipped the learning process and they were successful right away. It's that they spent 6 years learning and practicing. And then when they finally made the last few tweaks with us, everything just worked. So we can't skip the learning process altogether. And most times there is some trial and effort involved and there's no cookie cutter program that's going to get you the exact results that you want. And that's okay, because we are here to help you discover the gaps and create a plan for where you want to be. And the more you know at the start, the faster you're going to see results. For example, if you're really good at presenting, you're probably going to sound great on camera. Or if you're a photographer or a videographer, like, you're going to get the studio set up in a matter of minutes. If you're good at copywriting, like, you're going to crush scripting. And if you're good at business, you will make thousands of dollars from just a few thousand views.
Yeah, there's a lot of conflicting advice here, because to this comment here, Harrison says, first video, 5 million views, but he's marketing the long haul. So I'm telling you, you know, it's not going to be quick. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of work. But also one client got 5 million views the first video. So that could be you. It could be you. Chances are no, but it could be. It could be you. Like, okay.
And if you're not good at any of those things, like that's fine. We have plenty of time to get through it, as long as you put in more effort. Because yes, you will have to put in more effort than people that are already good because you're not yet good. And depending on how many steps you've taken before seeing this, you may have more or less work to do than the average person, but each step builds on each other. So just like you don't learn calculus and then suddenly hate your first grade math teacher because what they taught you was baby stuff compared to the cool new thing, like you need the basics before you do the complex thing. And this is either going to be the first step in the right direction or the last puzzle piece that you need to have the picture make sense. And either way, it's going to be what you make of it. Like I promise, no matter where you're starting from, my team can help a lot. And in the meantime, I want you to not post anything. This is day one. We have really explicit instructions on what we want you to do next, and the entire month of posting is already planned out for you. So spend the extra time that you would have spent managing your social media content going through this course instead, meaning watch it multiple times to get the most out of it, and spend time doing the homework that your coach assigns you before and after your strategy calls. And take all of that effort that you used to spend posting on social
Harrison sent me the link. Harrison says, apparently the I don't want to be good is not a valid code. The truth comes out.
media or doing this other marketing stuff that doesn't work as well as it should, and put it all into this. Because unlike all the other stuff you may have tried that either worked or didn't, we have an incredible amount of evidence that this is the highest leverage opportunity for a business. And if you need more proof, look at your competitors or the biggest people in the industry. Look at Hormozy or Gary Vee or whoever the leader in your niche is. Like they're spending most of their weeks in front of a camera because it works better than anything else they could possibly be doing. And the real secret to why this works so well for those guys is that success is never in just the systems. It's also in the execution. Your ability to execute on this is going to either make you millions of dollars or make you feel like this doesn't work for anyone at all.
Very true. Zip says, hold on, is my mic muted? No, I'm not. Okay. If you give contradictory advice, then eventually it will work for someone, and you can blame the client for not following the advice if it doesn't work for them. Exactly. I said this, not this, but then I said this, but I actually meant this. So you should have listened to that, not this. Duh, idiot.
Ever. We've worked with billionaire clients that come in and single-handedly complete 2 months of our program in a matter of 48 hours and post a single video that drives hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. Like those people are really successful at everything they do.
Okay, which billionaire client are you working with? Please name drop them. I want to know. Again, where's the proof?
And that's just what successful people execute like. And if you're not there yet, that's okay, but let's go to work and do something about it. Because for most of you, the education videos like this, they're not going to be the limiting factor. You've probably watched dozens of videos on how to grow on social media, how to write good scripts, how to film, how to edit videos. Despite all that education, it wasn't enough because you're still here. So to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, what you really need is a professional to come in from the outside, someone who's seen your situation hundreds of times before and knows exactly what it takes to get you from here to there. So it's not the education or information gathering that you're missing, it's the implementation. And that's what we're here for. That is the core offer of what we do at Viral Coach. It's coaching and mentorship. So here is what you can expect from us. First, if you've looked through the course modules, you might notice it looks kind of sparse. You might have been expecting to have been waterboarded by like 1,000 hours of content, like every other course on the internet. Because sometimes when you have a really big goal, you expect to need a lot of stuff to get there. But I think really what you are trying to get is results, not a bunch of content to consume. So with that in mind, our course is specifically made to be as short as possible so that you can go through it and then actually go do the important stuff and make content. Like, don't get me wrong, the details and the nuance things, they're super important, but it varies so much by niche and the type of content that you're doing that what we've seen to work best is just ask a coach about your specific scenario and then have them give you a really specific answer that solves your really specific problem. And we do that here in school. So you can talk to the coaches. They all have millions of followers. They've done this before. And if you want to be a private client, honestly, for most businesses, it's just the easiest lever that you could pull right now. And you get unlimited access to a coach and a really customized program. And we do a whole bunch of stuff for you as well.
Agreed. Monica says, no wonder this particular video is free. It's mostly a promotional video. That's all he's doing, is trying to get you to sign up for the paid part of the platform, which is super interesting because in the last video, he specifically said, I'm going to give you everything for free, no gatekeeping, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this video, sorry, is titled, How Soon Does This Make Me Rich?
So we've had clients that make tens of thousands of dollars 8 hours after their first coaching call. But we've also had clients that spend months building out their social media presence before they make a single dollar from this whole thing. And the one thing that all of our successful clients have in common is that they continue posting on social media until they see success. The ones that are unsuccessful are the ones that give up far too soon. And it's kind of like that joke that 99% of gamblers quit before they hit it big. But unlike playing the lottery, where the more opportunities you have, the worse your average expected outcome becomes because it's reversion to the mean, where the mean or the average is that the lottery company makes a massive profit and not the actual player. But on social media, the outcome is actually flipped. So the more chances you have the higher the likelihood of success. And the cool thing about social media is that it is basically free to buy as many lottery tickets as you want. It doesn't cost you anything to make a post. And there are a lot more rich people made on social media every month than there are from the lottery. And so here's kind of a cool graphic that explains what your expectation should be when starting on organic social media if you're starting with absolutely nothing. So let's start with the amount of effort involved down here. So you're going to spend a lot of time and effort in the first couple of months learning this whole new marketing system, especially if you're brand new to social media, have never done it successfully before. Going through this program kind of in month 1 and 2 and actually having to implement everything can feel like a lot if you've never done anything like this before. But eventually the goal is where you can just relax a little bit and, at the end, once you've got all the systems dialed in and everything is set up, you can just sit down for a couple hours a month or like I do, a couple hours a quarter, film everything all at once and just have it handled. So the effort does dramatically decrease once you've learned the process. And realistically, talking about the results from this, if you're starting from zero on social media and you don't currently have revenue with organic social media, you're probably not going to see any measurable kind of ROI from organic social media in the first couple of months. And that's simply because it takes time to build trust both with the audience and the platform to where you're putting money in your pocket for literally nothing more than your free words on social media that people watch for free. You're not paying for ads to get these customers. You're not paying for any kind of marketing whatsoever. You're making free content on social media and virtually shaking someone's hand to close a deal. Like, just to be clear, you can't expect someone to give you millions of dollars the second they find out you exist. This does take some time. And it's not just building trust with the audience and getting them to know, like, and trust you, but it's also building trust with a social media platform, especially platforms like Instagram with one of the highest earning potentials. Instagram is very hesitant to promote new content creators because if you think about it from Instagram's perspective, they should be cautious in giving.
Again, according to who? I have friends. Again, my anecdotal experience is that I have friends who started on Instagram less than a year ago and they already have 50,000, 100,000 followers. I've been on there 10 years almost and I only have 6,000 followers. So it's like, show me the numbers. Show me the actual data. Stop pulling statistics out of your butt and trying to make me believe that it's true. This guy's pissing me off, man.
Giving just anyone a platform. Like if you were a social media platform tasked with the single goal of keeping users on the platform as long as possible, and you have a choice between whose content you want to put in front of your viewers, would you push the established content creator who's been consistently making content for years, never missed a day of posting, is well liked by his followers? Or would you rather promote a piece of content that is brand new from a brand new account that just started yesterday where you don't have any historic data whatsoever to go off about the account's public perception of that content creator or how that individual piece of content would perform? Trusted creator, brand new creator. If you're trying to keep someone on the platform, which type of content would you promote? Probably the trusted one. And that being said, it's not that you can't be successful with the brand new account, but oftentimes it just literally takes time in the system on the platform to build that trust with the platform. And then you have to build that trust with your audience before you can actually sell them, which is why this result here is delayed by oftentimes a couple of months if you're starting absolutely from scratch. But at the same time, it does work in an exponential manner. And you can look at this taken to the extremes with some of the biggest content creators on the planet. So Mr. Beast, for example, one of the biggest personalities on the internet ever, spent 7 years going from 0 to 1 million subscribers. 7 years. And then the next year, he got to 10 million subscribers. And then 4 years later, he hit 100 million subscribers. The year after that, he got to 200 million subscribers. And then less than a year after that, he got to 300 million subscribers. And the more you scale, the bigger you become, the easier it is to get even bigger. And this is further accelerated by the amount of posts you make. So in the first couple of months, you might be getting set up.
Suzanne says, so stay in the game long term. How is this helpful? Actually, the longer you stay in the game, the more you're going to keep spending money on my program and the more I get rich. So I actually don't care if it works for you or not. I just want to get paid. So I'm going to tell you that you need to stay in for a really, 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 really long time in order to finally see results. Okay? Exactly. Hillary says, this guy is incentivized to make this course overwhelming to follow because his high ticket product is done for you social media management. Yeah, that's kind of what it's sounding like because he said, you'll get access to my team and we'll edit everything for you. I honestly, outside of this program here, I'm confused about what this guy is selling. Everything is very vague and unclear to me. Maybe it's because I'm only half listening, but I don't really understand what the top of the funnel is. Like, what do you want me to buy, sir? Somebody let me know.
To make content in the first place, and then for months 2 through 3 or 4, you might be just posting once per day. But once you see revenue coming in, once you see a little bit of traction, once you're able to put systems in place to make it easier to post more, it's going to be easy to justify spending more time and effort to make more content. Again, because the rate of effort per content is decreasing and the result per piece of content is increasing. And usually,
wait, did he explain why the effort is decreasing? Because maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I've been making content now for a very long time, almost 10 years, seriously. And the effort hasn't decreased that much. I'll tell you that.
spending more time and effort to make more content. Again, because the rate of effort per content is decreasing and the result per piece of content is increasing. And usually this is what that looks like. So in the first month that you're batching your content, you'll do batch 1, you'll sit down for a couple hours, film all of your content. That's the first batch. In month 2, you'll film the second batch. In month 3, you'll film the third batch. And you continue filming one new batch of content per month. But around month 3, usually we make a recommendation, depending on your content, your niche, to repost that first batch of content. You potentially have the opportunity to have more than one piece of content per day go out, because you have one piece of content per day from batch 3 and one piece of content per day from batch 1. There's lots of ifs, ands, or buts related to this, but just as an example of how it actually gets easier to make more new content. One, you're improving the skill of batching content all throughout, so sequentially these will get easier and easier to do, while at the same time you are reposting content as the months progress, and then eventually you work up to reposting twice per day and having one new piece of content also per day go live. And I just want to reemphasize the exponential nature of success on social media. And I've had many months this year myself with my business where we average more than $10,000 per organic post from social media. On every post, on average, across the entire month, I make more than $10,000 per post from organic. And once you start to see those kinds of results, it becomes easier and easier to justify spending more time and more effort, all while it's getting easier and the results are increasing exponentially. Like literally, this is one of the craziest things I have ever seen in business ever. And the biggest brands in the world have already figured this out on a large scale with brand, and why companies like Nike and Adidas spend billions of dollars on their marketing campaigns. And only now are people starting to realize the same thing applies with their personal brand, and that it doesn't cost billions to do, but it's absolutely free to post. So please do not take it for granted. Expect it to be really difficult at the start, but expect it to be very worth it in the end.
I don't see brands like Nike just reposting their old content, though. I don't know about that, sir. Okay, so far we are 1, 2, 3 lessons in, and I haven't learned anything other than, you should just upgrade to my paid stuff, because that's where you're really going to learn.
So the entire strategy of Viral Coach can be boiled down to optimizing quality and then cranking quantity. So we can look at it as an equation where quality times quantity equals results. And it's not just one of these, it's a careful combination of both. So you gain followers with high quality content and you lose followers with low quality content. And you can accelerate either process with quantity. So if you post a bunch of good stuff, you get more followers, engagement, and money. If you post a bunch of mediocre stuff, you'll actually lose followers and you'll get bad engagement and you'll end up making less money. And simply posting more will probably actually get you worse results and waste your time. For example, one of our clients came to us generating only 13 followers per post, and his team was spending 132 hours per month dedicated to this effort. And it made absolutely no sense, because at that rate, posting twice per day would have him reach this goal in literally 100 years, all while paying a team thousands of dollars a month to get there. And the strategy we moved him to has him averaging over 100,000 views per video on Instagram alone.
Again, all he's doing is sharing testimonials, case studies. Show me the actual strategy. I don't care. I don't give a crap about your clients. You told me this was a free course. Where's the content?
Get the systems to where they need to be to have it be worth investing your time and effort into this, because you get a disproportionately larger return on investment. And then once we have that dialed in, then we can really crank the quantity of posts. And then that's when the business really scales. And we take this approach because short form has completely changed the game for social media. Before, if you had 1 million subscribers, it was almost guaranteed that every single video you put out would get hundreds of thousands of views. But now your reach is only as good as your last post. And if someone with 1 million subscribers posts a bad video, it's not going to get seen. And on the other hand, if someone posts their first video with no followers and it's amazing, they have a chance to get tons of views despite.
Did he not just say in the last video, the Instagram doesn't want to show new accounts to people? Instagram's going to show the old accounts to people because that's what they want to see. Those accounts are trusted. Like, you're literally contradicting yourself in every single video you make. In one video, you need to show up for a long time and be consistent so that Instagram will trust you. Now he's saying you could just post a really good video one time and you'll get tons of views. Like, this to me is demonstrating that he's pulling this shit out of his ass, because he's not actually teaching us something consistently. I would be much more inclined to believe that he knew what he was talking about if every single video became really repetitive and it kind of felt like he was explaining the same thing over and over again, versus in one video he's saying one thing and then in the next video he's saying something else, and so on and so on and so on. Because now I'm like, well, which one is true? Should I start a new Instagram account and just post one really good video? Or should I use my dead Instagram account that I've had for 20 years and post there instead? Like, guys, I'm so upset. This is so freaking stupid because he's contradicting himself, and people are falling for it. Jane Doe is going to hate this dude's emails. Yeah, stay tuned for that.
By having no prior audience. And it doesn't really matter how much success you've had on social media so far, because your most recent videos will be done by an expert team with billions of views of experience. And this change on social media really makes some content creators salty because they spent years of effort building up their followings, and all that time has been wasted because now they still have to make a good video if they want to get views. And that's true, but I see it absolutely as a good thing because it levels the playing field and puts quality over everything. And with
That's literally the opposite of what you said in the last video. Okay. This guy's pissing me off. Oops. Let's see. Build and liquidate brand equity. What is this one? I'm getting like less and less interested about what he has to say the more that I watch his content and see that nothing he says makes sense. Short form funnel, top, middle, bottom. And I'm also confused just based on that last video what it is he's selling again, because he's saying I'll have access to his team of editors. So if I join this paid community, do I get access to that, or is that like a higher tier offer that I have to buy? Let's see. Okay, so this looks like maybe it's the actual, you know, like content of the training where he's teaching us how to plan our content. So maybe we'll watch that one and see whether or not it's actually decent advice. Exactly. This is the same vibe. Arch your back while keeping it perfectly flat. Bend your knees while keeping your legs completely straight. So stupid. So Monica, in that last slide, Monica's asking, what does he mean by no followers, good video? In that last slide, he was showing an example where like someone might have a ton of followers, but if they post really crappy quality content, they're not going to get any views. Whereas a new account could come and have no followers and post an amazing video and get a ton of views. But in the video prior to that, he said Instagram doesn't trust new accounts, so they're not going to get any views. So it's like, which one of those two things is true? Because they're both completely opposite. Ugh, this guy's really annoying. Okay,
should you be planning your content, or should you just let it rip? So just like you plan and probably even script out word for word all the ads that you make for your business, you should also be planning your content and maybe even scripting out your content word for word for social media. Because just making random stuff and just throwing it up there is probably not going to get you the result that you're looking for. And it's actually probably just going to tell everyone that does find your stuff to not work with you, because they're going to attribute your lack of effort on social media and how you present yourself to be congruent to how you do everything else in your business. And this is a really big thing why day one, mostly what we're doing with clients is just cleaning up the old stuff that isn't a really good representation of best practices on social media. And so this really is just putting your best foot forward. And to do that, you need to have some amount of planning and strategy, including one of the most important things people do is spending a lot of time to understand how you should position yourself and looking at other people that are either your competitors or accounts that you look up to and how they are positioning themselves on social media. Our most successful clients are the ones that truly understand what works on social media because they have dozens of reference points and they can see what all of their competitors are doing successfully or what they want their future content to look like because they can see it working for everyone else. And if you have no idea of what your goal is and what the specific type of content you want to make looks like, it's going to be really hard to get there on accident. Understanding what types of content move the needle, what impact each piece of content has to your brand equity, and how to balance the value that you provide with your calls to action and how you take from that audience is going to affect the amount of success that you actually see with your content. And having seen hundreds of people on social media that either are very successful or very unsuccessful, it has informed a lot of this course and really why we have so much material in planning your content before we actually start doing the work. I can't emphasize enough how important this is. And if you don't believe me, you either believe me when you're very successful or when you're struggling to make it work. So just...
Okay, that was a waste of our time. Janaea says he sounds like one of the people who is preaching what worked in 2016. This is the real part that kind of had the red flags going off for me, like especially now that I've seen his TikTok has whatever it was, 1.2 million followers. I think, and this is just allegedly in my opinion, I speculate that what happened was this guy had success on TikTok back in 2020, 2021, even 2022, when it was a lot easier to gain a lot of followers very quickly. And I mean, that was my experience. I don't have 1 million followers. I have like 60,000 followers on TikTok. But the growth that I saw between 2020 and 2022 was much faster than the growth that I see now. I still consistently grow on TikTok, but not nearly at the rate that would happen back then. And so there are a few people that I've kept tabs on over the years who saw that success back in 2020, back in 2021, that still lean on that of, you know, I have 100,000 followers, I have 500,000 followers, whatever. I know the formula that works on social media. And yet when you go to their views, and again, this guy's the perfect example, you can see that they're only getting 1,000, 2,000 views per video when they have 1 million followers. If you actually understood how the algorithm works, you would not be struggling with your views so drastically, I would think, allegedly. And I mean, this is why I don't sell a course, because I don't understand the algorithm. I'm just guessing. Throwing it out there, you know? Yeah, very contradicting, very confusing. Also, he's not really saying anything. Like, I don't know why the title of this was Intro to Content Planning, because he didn't really tell us how to make a content plan at all. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to take away from that. So, okay, effortless content flywheel. Probably more nonsense that's not really helpful. I'm yawning because I'm so bored. Going on and on and on. Okay, creating the content. Maybe this will be helpful. Let's talk about video styles. Okay. Whoops.
So there's a lot of ways to make content for social media that's successful, and I want to cover just a few in this video for context when we talk about them later in the course. Talking head short form videos are where most people should start, because it's the biggest opportunity on social media right now. And when making these videos, after testing this with hundreds of clients, scripting out your content before filming is the simplest way to guarantee really high quality outcome, because you control all the variables. Every single word that you say is scripted. But it could also be really hard at the start. So one of the big things we fix with almost every single client when they start on our program is that they write for written communication instead of spoken communication. And it's a really difficult habit to break, because every other time you write, it's meant to be read, not spoken. So if you just take one thing from this course that you can go into today that'll make the biggest difference with your content, it's that when you sit down to script, say the words out loud as you write them. But if you're really struggling with...
I will give him that. That's how I do. I script 99% of my content, and I always, as I write it, I'll then read it out loud to make sure that it makes sense, and I'll change it so that it sounds more like how I actually talk. So that is the first thing. We're what? An hour and 17 minutes in, and we finally got one good piece of advice, guys. Completely for free. So that's great. Great use of our time.
With your speaking voice, you could go the route of just writing out some bullet points. And if it feels really comfortable, and if you're concise enough, you might have an easier time than scripting out every single word of your video.
Also very true. And good scripting takes how much time? You don't want to know. You don't want to know. I just finished the script today for a YouTube video. I'm going to release a deep dive. The first deep dive I've done, I think, this entire year, because it takes so much time. And I spent probably 4 to 6 hours on that script, and it's not even like a very heavily researched video. So do with that information what you will. Even my short form content, again, if I usually batch produce everything, so I'll script out, 5 videos at a time, that alone could take me 3 hours for 5, 30 to 60 second videos. This isn't just like I'm going to make some content. Let me write down a script in 30 seconds. Or what did he say? Make a month's worth of content in 2 hours. You're not going to do that. If you want it to be good quality content, like he keeps saying, there's no way you're going to be able to do that if you're a one-person team in a very short time frame. It is a massive investment of your time.
Most people know right away whether this feels easy or not. And if it's not easy, just script it. But if you're constantly tripping over your words, or you find yourself rambling when you're filming off of bullet points, you probably need to be scripting. Another style of content that we sometimes prescribe to clients is response videos. And we'll talk a lot more about this later in the course when we go into actually monetizing your audience with bottom of funnel content. And it might seem like a bunch of hassle to just write out all your videos when you see some other people on social media just like talking on a podcast. But unless you have decades of experience in sales or speaking on stage, this type of content just will not do well, because you need literally years of this type of experience to be able to communicate with your audience in a way that also gets you millions of views on social media. And this is why if you've just tried cutting up podcast clips, it probably didn't work well enough. And a good example of this is actually Dave Ramsey. So he was a billionaire before short form even existed. He already had decades of experience on radio, speaking on stages, writing books, courses. He's one of the biggest educators on the planet, and he still struggled to make podcast clips work as content. And our director of client success, Lisa, spent a lot of time working with Dave and his team to kind of give that feedback and change how he spoke in his long form content when he knew that it would later be cut up for shorts. But once he got it, he knew when to add the emphasis, where to stop talking, where to add a little bit of color, and really just how to optimize his speaking for short form. So just because you think you're good at podcasts or speaking on stage does not mean that your long form content will translate into successful short form clips. Because you really have to be a top 1% communicator to just hop on a podcast and then use cut up clips from that for your short form content. Otherwise, you're just going to be publishing hundreds and hundreds of podcast clips just to get one or two that sometimes get views. And if you're working with one of our coaches, we'll also take you through the route of a mock interview where you just kind of bring talking points or FAQs from your audience, and we'll take you through some Q&A. So we're going to answer the questions in a few different ways, tease out some of those hooks, get some powerful takeaways and some conclusions all from a single answer, and really then just do the heavy lifting for you on the back end, cutting up those clips and rearranging them to create that story in post-production.
Okay, so this is a trend. I don't know if other people have seen this. I think some other creators have made videos about it. But there is this trend I've noticed in the creation space. Particularly, I notice a lot of like bigger brands using it, but same like one-off content creators will do it too, where people basically fake an interview in order to like give themselves a false sense of authority. So let's just imagine you're my phone and I'm going to post this on social media. Well, you see, the reason why so many scammers on the internet exist is because no one's out here fact checking that what they're saying isn't fucking true. You see what I did there? I just pretended that I was on a podcast talking to somebody else who doesn't exist. I'm just talking to the wall. There is this weird trend of people, a lot of the times they'll like rent out a studio and then they come up with all these like thought leader-esque monologues and they film themselves as if they're on a podcast talking to someone. And it's to create this like, you know, false sense of authority. But every time I see one, I can't help but laugh, especially when you can tell that person hasn't been on a ton of podcasts or doesn't have a lot of experience in interviews, because the cadence in which they're speaking is so unnatural. Like they don't have the ability to imagine that they're actually talking to a person. Not to say that like, oh my God, I'm so talented, guys. I know how to do everything. But I have been interviewed a number of times, whether it's like on podcasts, for news articles, whatever. And so I feel like I would have the ability to fake that and act like I'm talking to someone just because I know what it feels like to do that. But I just see so many creators, it's almost like secondhand embarrassment watching it, where they talk as though they are reading off of a script because they have never practiced talking to another person and they want it to sound like they are so smart. And it's just like, girl, that's not how you would talk if you were on an interview right now. Exactly. It's always the red draped backdrop curtain, 100%, or like some fake plant behind them or something, and like really weird lighting. I don't know. I always just find that super funny, and it's like kind of a little bit cringe, in my opinion. You won't be catching me making fake podcast content anytime soon, I'll tell you that. Okay. I don't know. I feel like this just goes on and on and on. And as we can probably see, we're not really getting any value, allegedly, in my opinion. So I would be curious, Harrison, you said that you saw on Reddit that the discount code, the I want my money back discount code or whatever it said, what was the code? I already forgot it, but it doesn't work. I want to stay small. I'm going to look up some stuff on Reddit and maybe we can read through that. Okay, there's this one, which isn't super helpful. Hello, I was approached to work with them for viral coaching on social media. Has anyone worked with him? Can you share your experience? It seems a bit of a hard sell. Any information would be helpful. Apparently, it's a scam. That's all it says. This comment says, one coaching company I know of does something similar. As a part of their marketing, they interview each other, giving scripted answers to sound as though they are authority in NLP. Oh, it's so funny. Okay, you were just making a joke. I missed it. But still, I don't know. It's just like there isn't a ton of info, but something I did find interesting. I saw this in the comment section on one of his YouTube videos. He originally, and I mean, we can go to his YouTube channel and I'll show you. His original content was actually about like credit card hacking and teaching people how to, you know, I signed up for every credit card so that you don't have to. Oh, and he just posted a new video 25 minutes ago. Maybe we should watch it. Okay, sorry. I'm a little bit all over the place. What else is new? So when I go to his videos and I look at his most popular videos, so even here on YouTube, I don't know, this is kind of odd to me that he has 800,000 subscribers and his most viewed video of all time has less than 1 million views. Something about that just seems like odd to me. Maybe because my most viewed video has over 1 million views and I only have 30,000 subs. So either I'm really bad at converting people. I don't want the people that watch that video actually to subscribe to me. So maybe that's the problem. But I just find that interesting. Like if I had 800,000 subscribers, I would expect that most of my videos are generating hundreds of thousands of views. But it seems very curious. Yeah, the math ain't mathin'. That's what I'm saying. And these videos are, you know, from 2 years ago, whatever. But yeah, okay, so I got every card so that you don't have to. And then he kind of goes over, I didn't actually watch the whole video, but he goes over, you know, the different benefits of each card and whatever. But yeah, I found the worst credit cards ever. 5 work from home side hustles to make $500 a day. 3 easiest ways to make $500 per day. The whole vibe that I'm getting as I'm scrolling through his channel is that he has been on this mission to create content that's going to teach people how to make money, whether or not we know that he's actually made this money himself. So it just, something about it doesn't sit well with me. Yeah, the thumbnails are definitely giving like a very specific niche of YouTube that I'm not really interested in. How to get approved for any credit card. I paid a credit card expert $500,000 for a perfect credit score. I made $1 million in 1 month. Like everything is very clickbaity. But yeah, then even here, so then we keep scrolling. So these are his most popular videos, the most viewed videos on his channel. These ones up here all have pretty good views, like 50% of your following views on a video, really good. But once we scroll down to like the 9th video, he's only getting 71,000 views, 50,000 views, 20,000 views. Again, he has almost 1 million followers. And the majority of his videos are getting 4,000, 3,000, 3,000 views. Like, I don't get great views on YouTube, but I also don't have 800,000 followers. Like, something about this doesn't sit well with me. It seems suspicious. I wonder if he gets lots of shorts views, maybe. Maybe that's what I'm missing. Okay, I think we figured it out, guys. That took me 2 seconds. So his YouTube shorts do get 33 million views, 32 million views, 20 million views, 17 million views. So he does get really good views on his shorts. But again, these all look old because he looks really young in each of these videos. So we're riding virality that we achieved, 2 years ago, and still selling an online course about it.
Would you rather?
Like these comments are from 2 years ago. And again, incredible. I do not get views like that. I do not get 2 million views, or sorry, 20 million views on my YouTube shorts. Absolutely not. But if I'm selling a course on how to go viral and my most recent videos aren't even breaking 10K views, should I be selling a course on how to go viral? You guys can decide on your own. Yeah, so he just changes his grift scam to scam. It's giving the vibes of like, I'm going to jump on whatever's popular right now and sell a course about it. And then once that market fizzles out, I'll just switch to something else. I'm actually curious if we go to this video
To see
if he's selling something in the comments, or maybe he just has affiliate links for the credit cards. Start investing with bonuses below. Okay, so he just has like some affiliate links. And okay, thankfully he does have a disclaimer saying that it's not financial advice, so that's good at least. But I don't know. It's giving me just some weird vibes. Do we want to watch this video of I went viral or not? Because I'm confused as to when he went viral, because all of the viral content we looked at was from 2 years ago, and this video was posted 30 minutes ago. So what do we think? Should we watch it or are we good? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Drop a 1 in the comments if we should watch the video. Hi, buddy. Hi, baby bubbies. Thanks for the kiss. That's so nice. Did everyone log off? Y'all log off the stream. You're leaving me here alone all by myself. Let's see his proof and how he skirts around it being luck. James says 2. Let's watch. Okay, you know what? I just needed one person to say it, so let's do it.
I'm making this video because one of the clients working with us that blew up this week is struggling with the negativity of going viral. And this is actually not the first time that I've had a client post a video, have it get millions of views, and receive an incredible amount of backlash on social media. And I'm just making this video to describe my thought process, because I've been on the receiving end of tens of thousands, if not 100,000 plus comments that are very negative on social media about something that I've said on social media.
Uh-oh. The irony of me watching this video right now. So already the title is clickbait. I went viral, now what? But he's referring to like you. You went viral, now what? What should you do? Ah!
So if you are hoping to have a little bit of reassurance that the world is not so terrible out there and that you should post anyways, this is not that video. This is instead talking about how it definitely will go wrong for you when you post on social media. And before going into this specific guy who got, it was like 2 million views back when I last checked. I think it's more now. Yeah, it's 2.8 million views now, and the subsequent videos that he posted also got tens of thousands of views, really blew up his account. It was the 18th video that he posted with us. So he's like a fairly new content creator, and to get, it was literally almost 3,000 negative comments was a really big change for him. Before I go into what he did.
I mean, Monica, to be fair, Monica says if you get negative reviews, then you suck. He's talking about like on videos. I will post a video. Actually, I did last month. Maybe it might have been March or late February. I might have mentioned this on here before. I don't know. I posted a video on TikTok explaining what an RRSP is. So in Canada, we have a registered retirement savings plan. I believe it's the equivalent to the 401k in the US or the IRA. Whatever one is like an account where you don't pay taxes on it until you cash it out at retirement. And anyway, I made a video on TikTok and it got 500,000 views. And I would say 50% of the comments were people either telling me that I'm an idiot, telling me that I'm wrong, or just like basically bashing what I had said in the video. And I think that's just the nature of going viral. It has nothing to do with whether or not the content is good. It has nothing to do with whether or not the information you're sharing is accurate or not. Literally, people just want to be pissed off about something. And so if you take a polarizing stance on something, you're going to have people say something negative. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the person sucks. It's just the nature of the internet.
what that actual video is, I want to talk about another client of ours that had a similar experience that was actually way, way worse. She was a mom, posted a video on social media with her kids that was about the type of industry that she was in and that she was a professional in and taught other people in. It was an industry that is not always seen in the best of lights by most people. Some people think of it as a scam or, something that generally isn't the most moral high ground thing to do. I'm not going to go into details just for anonymity and her privacy's sake, but it was 24 hours after one of the first calls with my team that she came up with this idea and posted the video based on some guidance that we had given her in what is successful in her niche with other content creators. So she looked at other content creators, saw what was working for them, was inspired to make her own video, and that video blew up. Again, 24 hours after the first meeting with our team, she posted this video. It gets 4 million views on TikTok, 2 million views on Instagram. Basically, overnight, she's like crazy well known in this industry. And she had been posting on social media for years before that, but never had a video anywhere near this big and definitely had never received the amount of attention that this video brought her. This attention was coming in from, of course, the comments on her own videos, but also news sources. She was in like 10 large publications around the world for her specific video. And then it also came in the form of response videos. So other people in her industry or in similar industries responding and reacting to the video. And what followed was an incredible amount of support with the 4 million views that she got on TikTok. Almost every single comment, 95% or more of the comments were positive. And then on Instagram, the opposite happened, where she got 2 million views on Instagram, and every single comment, every single person that reached out to her on Instagram was overwhelmingly negative. And not just saying things nasty about her or the industry that she is in, but calling her out and her family specifically for being in this industry in the first place. And because the video featured her kids, it was extremely, extremely painful for this content creator, this business owner, to see so many people negatively reacting to her video. And she...
What, do we think they're like anti-vaxxers or something? I'm like, what kind of, maybe like raw dairy drinkers, some kind of wellness, pseudoscience niche, perhaps?
Eventually ghosted us for about 2 weeks, where we simply did not hear from her after posting that video. She didn't post any new content. We couldn't get a hold of her. We were trying to contact her almost every single day, either through Slack, because she was a private client of ours that we were working with one-on-one, or through email when Slack wouldn't work. We didn't hear absolutely anything for 2 weeks. And 2 weeks later, she comes back extremely disheartened. She had to take a mental break for some time to be able to kind of recover from all the negativity that she was getting from now seemingly every single social media platform. What started off as just positive on TikTok turned into a lot of people flooding to TikTok from Instagram to let her know that they hate her on TikTok as well. And just an overwhelming amount of negative things being said about her on social media. And this is the first time that she's properly blown up like that, so it was a lot to take in. And over the next couple of weeks, while we were in communication with her, we didn't make very much progress on creating new content. It was mostly just trying to pull her back in and convince her that the $100,000+ she made in the previous week from that massive video was worth all the potential negativity that she got on social media. So just to be clear, she made $100,000 up front, which led to hundreds of thousands of dollars on the back end from this one video. Because the comments were so negative, she thought to quit altogether. Imagine making 100,000 six figures in like a matter of days and making multiple six figures guaranteed within the next few months. Because
Guys, you heard it first. If your mental health is going to shit because people on the internet are destroying your life, as long as you're getting rich, who cares? Who needs mental health when you have millions of dollars, guys? That's the takeaway here. Forget self-care. Forget self-preservation. Getting rich is what we want to do, okay? Make as much money as possible. Write that down. The goal in life is to get rich. We don't care about our mental health and well-being.
You can buy status by just like spending money to be around these people and then just being a cool person.
Then you can just spend your money to be around cool people and be a cool person. That's the goal.
Because of a certain action, but it's so negative. The response is so overwhelmingly hateful that you never want to pull that money lever ever again. That was the exact situation she was in. And eventually we were able to convince her to continue posting, and she is still posting to this day. And just the other day, actually, I got hit with one of the content creators that responded to her video as a reaction, who reposted that reaction video. And the reaction video got 2+ million views and just generally created a lot more hate for that same person. And while I personally do not care about who likes my videos, who hates my videos, any of the negative comments that I get online simply don't bother me because I've gotten so many. When you're getting a lot for the very first time, it's extremely upsetting. It's extremely disheartening. And I remember the first video that I posted that received a lot of hate, I tried to combat the hate. So I thought, if I can logically respond to every single one of these comments, I'll be able to convince the person commenting that they were wrong or at least uninformed. I didn't have the full perspective that I did, which is why I made the video in the first place. I have a different perspective than them. And after about 1,000 of those comments, I realized that there's a certain population out there that, regardless of how right or wrong you are, will simply want to be combative. And they are looking for different outlets to be able to express their negativity. And if you unfortunately become one of those outlets on a day because you put a video in front of them completely unintentionally, you are going to receive the outcome of their frustrations, which is, hurtful, negative comments that are very hateful online. And it could be completely outside of your control, something that you don't intend to do simply because of the total amount of people that want to spread negativity on a day-to-day basis, showing up online in front of, a large amount of people that have the propensity to do something like that. You will get a lot of hate if you have any level of success. And when you look...
Okay. Just one quick comment here. Again, I don't know the context of this. I don't know his videos. I don't know if people are actually being hateful or if they're just saying things in disagreement with stuff that he said. Again, I get a ton of comments, specifically on TikTok, because I talk a lot about like business ownership in Canada. And one topic that comes up a lot is like paying taxes. And so I often will get negative comments being like, taxes are stupid. I'm never paying my taxes. Screw the government. They're thieves. Da da da. I don't consider those hate comments. I just consider them like, negative little internet trolls. Who cares? I just find it interesting the significant emphasis, in my opinion, he's putting on that negativity and categorizing it all as hate. Because I think that this is something we see a lot specifically in coaching, is this really sort of persistent behavior of these people to, rather than reflect on their contributions to why people might be reacting in the way that they're reacting as like valid criticism perhaps, or something to be considered, and immediately just classifying anyone who doesn't agree with what I said as being hateful and they have bad intentions. Because not everyone has bad intentions. I get comments on my videos of people telling me about like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, da 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 da. Do I think those people are always being hateful? No. In some cases, they genuinely don't understand where I'm coming from, or they just have a different belief than I do. And that's okay. It's all about, creating a discourse and not necessarily immediately being like, anyone who doesn't agree with me is hateful. Like, I don't know. And again, I don't know. Maybe the comments he's getting are actually hateful. I get comments where people are like, why don't you go yourself? Yeah, okay, I would consider that hateful. But to just say that, like, all of the comments I get on my viral videos, or I get so many hateful comments, it's like, do you? I don't know. Again, show me the receipts. I'll be the judge.
Look at the most successful people on social media. They are also the ones that are the most hated because by definition, they are just the most popular. And the most that you can do...
Exactly, Suzanne. Any form of disagreement is seen as hate. And I hate that.
is understand what the general consensus was around the hateful comments and either make future content to be able to combat that or make future content to be able to address it. And there's really no point in arguing on a one-to-one basis when you're reaching millions of people. Now, this specific client of ours made a video that got 2.8 million views talking about the mental health system and who we base our current mental health best practices around. He's arguing that when modern psychology took off, there were two major voices, one Freud and one Adler. And he argues the benefit to each one of these two perspectives in a very neutral tone. However, because some of the statements he made are loosely opinion-based, which he is very transparent about, and the entire video is not exclusively rooted on fact, it allows opportunity for other people to come in and express their own opinions. There's two ways that he could have prevented this with this video. One is simply talking about things that are only fact and are irrefutable, and people can go and Google themselves and understand. This is very similar to what a lot of unbiased news channels do, where they simply report on what happened with no additional context, the ability for people to misinterpret.
No, but even if you make content that is factual, people will still argue with you about it. Like, I could be like, here's a scientific study that shows that... Actually, this is something that we looked at on the channel, I think, one day, or I saw it on someone else's video. There's this guy that's talking about, the way to avoid getting cancer, skin cancer, is to spend time unprotected in the sun, and you'll like build your immunity to the sun. Meanwhile, every single scientific study, irrefutable evidence shows that unprotected sun exposure is linked to melanoma. And they're like, nope, you don't know what you're talking about. You didn't do your research. And it's just like, you could show factual information and people are still going to be trolls in the comments. You got to just learn to ignore it, honestly.
The other way that he could have approached this is to create more opinion-based statements in his video and get people even more inflamed. While I do think that would have improved the total reach of his video and probably also improved engagement, it would have worsened the situation that he found himself in, which is a lot of people unfortunately disagreeing with him. I think he did exactly what he should have, and for a very first video to get 3 million views and almost 3,000 comments, take a very neutral tone to where he doesn't feel like he's getting attacked by 10,000 people and only 3,000, but at the same time, he creates a video that is not simply rooted in fact. And
You're telling me every single comment on his video was someone disagreeing with him? I find that very hard to believe. Again, as someone who has gone viral, specifically on TikTok where people are super unhinged, not every comment on my videos that have gotten a lot of views are all like against what I'm saying. It's like 50-50. You get some haters, you get some people that just like have a different opinion than you. You get some people that maybe just disagree with what you're saying, and then you get some people that are like, yeah, I totally agree. It would be really weird to post a video and have every single person disagree with what you're saying. And if that's the case, maybe it's time for you to reflect and see whether or not what you're saying actually is a very good opinion to be having.
Introduces some element of opinion to be able to frame him either as the expert in what his opinion is or a thought leader that has new or contrarian ideas in the subject he's talking about, which he did. He accomplished the goal. He went viral. He had an opinion-based statement in his video that made a lot of people see him as the thought leader and made a whole bunch of other people see him as an opportunity to improve engagement in his video by leaving.
Someone keeps like liking and unliking this video because I see this number here going up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's very distracting.
A comment, hateful or otherwise. And the result translated to subsequent videos also getting 10,000 views and boosting the total engagement in his account overall and getting thousands of new followers to see him as the expert. The other thing that it did, though, is it created a lot of ammo for him to use to be able to make response videos for. All the crazy opinionated people in the comment section now get to have their own time in the spotlight to be able to shine with a response video that he can take and make specifically for them, addressing all of their concerns, all of their comments, hateful or otherwise, and explain to everyone else who is participating in the discussion and watching in from the outside why that comment was either wrong or potentially misinformed. And all that does is increase his engagement even more. As long as he can handle the hate, he can make a lot of money off of one bad situation, or what seems to be like an incredible amount of hate online. And at the end of the day, for every negative comment he got, he also got tens of thousands of views from people who did not leave a negative comment, implying that they had a neutral or otherwise positive interpretation of what he was talking about in the video. And on top of that, he also had hundreds of likes on the video for every one comment. It's actually 150 likes on that video, 150,000 likes divided by 3,000
Monica, the video was only posted less than an hour ago, so that makes sense.
comments. So 50 likes for every one negative comment that he got. I hope this at least adds a little bit of perspective to what it looks like to blow up. And if you're hoping to get big on social media, at some point you will just have to put up with the hate. There's going to be a lot of people that disagree with you simply because the world has a lot of opinionated people out there. But at the end of the day, if you're hoping to make money, it's an incredible gift to be given a spotlight where a lot of people disagree with you and create free conversation for other people to be able to look in on. And at the end of the day, the people who are going to be your customers probably agree with what you're saying in the first place anyways. I'm making this video because one of the
Honestly, I just let the trolls argue with each other. Like that RRSP video, there was a few people very opinionated. I just let them fight with each other. Like, I don't have time for this. You can believe whatever you want. I'm not here to convince you otherwise because you've already convinced yourself what your truth is. Is your truth the true? Is it the true truth? Or is it true to be the truth? Things we'll never know. Okay, I have no idea what the point of that video was other than to say, like, when you go viral, you might get some negative comments. Okay, cool. Keep making videos. Who cares? Ay. Okay, I don't have much else to add here. That was all I had planned for today. Thank you for coming on that ride with me. My advice for you is don't click on ads on Facebook. I think because I click on the ads, then I get more ads. I know Suzanne gets lots of really great ads that she so graciously sends my way. I do appreciate it, though. More content to come. I have that deep dive coming maybe later this week. A couple more scam stories. Those seem to be doing pretty well recently, so thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Monica says, I don't think any of his videos have a point. That was a big waste of our time, so thanks for wasting it with me, I suppose. I get the best ads. Yes, you absolutely do. We appreciate all of your hard work. And to that, I will say this.
Have you really got that you are God?
Have you got that you are God, Suzanne? Because you are. Also, shout out to Lisa Hance. If you're watching this or you're on the replay, she just turned into a pig that is spitting out money. If you remember, for over 2 years, your unicorn turns into a pig. Fun fact. Exactly. Take care, comb your hair. I'll stop yapping. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay? Bye-bye.